Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Actually, I had scheduled this live stream with my cell phone, but I thought that I could stream it with my computer. So this is what I was trying to do now. So it seems that when I schedule the live stream with the cell phone, I have to use the cell phone. So for today, we will have to do like this. Otherwise, I will have to create a new link and many people will not be able to join since that was the link that was shared. So let me know if the sound is correct, if it's audible, if it's not too bad. Please let me know in the comment section, how does it sound? Otherwise, I don't know if there's a way for me to plug a microphone that I have maybe. Okay, Dimitri Prabhu says it's okay. Radhika Saki Mataji says it's all right. Okay, so I guess the microphone is not that bad. So, okay, so this is the first time I'm doing this like this. I've done a live stream before with my phone, but it was directly on the moment, I pressed live and I started to live stream. Now it was scheduled and all. So thank you very much for joining us. Today we will not be able to share screen because we're using the phone. And on the computer also I was learning how to do it. Actually, it has to be done through a second platform service. It cannot be done with YouTube itself. Okay, so we will be starting with the Mangalacharana prayer. Om Jnanaatimirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Taismai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utam Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunantam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shivishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadishatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So just one moment, I'll just go get some water. So thank you very much for joining. This is our first. We were a little bit afraid because the connection here is very poor. First of all, I need to use a VPN to stay connected. So if during the class there's some disconnection, I will try my best to inform you as to what is going on. And please stay there. Allow me a few minutes if I get disconnected so that I can come back. I hope that will not happen. At the moment, I'm with my phone. So let's hope that I'm leaving the door open, you see, so that the Wi-Fi can come in and all. This is, so in China already, internet is not so good. Plus, on top of that, I have to use a VPN. So please bear with me if something happens. So I'm happy to see that some devotees are joining in the chat. section. So Hare Krishna to all. So this will be, I hope, the first in a series of live classes that we will attempt to be giving on every Tuesday evening at the same time. This is something that I thought of doing for a long time, and actually I should have started that a long time ago already. I got many demands. Some devotees were asking on our personal YouTube channel in the comment section of some of our videos, some of our vlogs, that when are we going to be doing this. So it's long overdue, let's say. I wanted to start this first series with a topic which I believe is very important. So if there's any problem with the audio or video, please let me know in the comment section. Okay, I'm following here on the computer. So recently, why I'm speaking of I want to speak of this spiritual happiness, spiritual pleasure. I will be totally honest with you. Recently, actually, my sadhana, my spiritual life, was not as good as it normally is. Mainly due to a lot of obstacles, a lot of change also. We had to move to a new place. Now we are in the countryside. We are renting a farmhouse. For those of you who've been following our vlogs, you know a bit what has happened during the summer. We went to preach to another province. We stayed like 1 month almost into this house. We had the summer camp Gurukula and so on. So it kind of gave us the idea of try to do the same thing here, start a Gurukula with our son, which would be the first student, and then later on build upon that, try to have a schedule with him, teach him, and then try to invite other students to join. So after we came back, we sort of decided to move outside of the city and start our farmhouse life, and that's what happened. And it was very, very hectic. And also there was some trouble with the authorities. Police officers found out what we did in that other province. So they even followed up the case all the way here to Guangdong province. Some officers came to our house and so on. So the motivation, the determination kind of got lowered. My spirit of preaching, if I can say. So in my vlogs, generally you see when I'm kind of fired up, because when I'm feeling enthusiastic, this is when I like to pick up the camera and film and so on. But I'm not always like this, because preaching is not always easy. And when one is not very advanced, sometimes obstacles will create impediments in his devotional life. So the title that I said is How to Get Real Spiritual Happiness. So I made a small short announcing this class, and I was saying that I don't want to be trying to appear as if I'm a possessor of real spiritual happiness, because that would be very arrogant on my part and cheating. I am nowhere near the higher standards of spiritual life, but in my spiritual advancement, I did feel the difference between how I was before and how I am now, as most devotees, I guess. All devotees, as soon as you start chanting Hare Krishna and reading Srila Prabhupada's books, you feel a change. A change is there. And some feelings, some spiritual feelings that come that have not been experienced before, that are not found in the senses, So, okay. So actually, every single living entity is seeking the same thing. Everyone, all sentient beings are all after the same exact thing. We're all seeking pleasure. We use generally the word happiness, but happiness is not broad enough. The real term should be pleasure. A gross example, some people like to be scared, right? They watch horror movies and they think that this is pleasure. So they're definitely not feeling happy, but they think that there's some pleasure to be derived from being scared or angry. We go watch like a boxing match, let's say. It's not to feel happy. You feel excited. There's some anger, if the opponent becomes stronger upon the one that you are leaning toward. So in this way, pleasure can be sought in many different aspects of lives. And this really applies to every single living entity, starting from the very lowest bugs, like worms in the stool. Prabhupada often gave this example of the worms in the stool because who can think of a form of life lower than that? They spend their life in stool. But even them, they have their source of enjoyment. So they think that this environment of living in stool is enjoyable. So all animals, it doesn't matter, they all have their desire for enjoying, right? So there's two things going on. There's seeking pleasure and trying to avoid uncomfortable circumstances. So displeasurable situations, we don't want that. So we do two things. We try to, okay, I want to get some favorable position and try to counteract unfavorable positions. Just like now here in China, I'm sure you've all heard of the zero COVID policy. So because of this, actually it's creating a lot more distressful situations for the citizens in China. They are very strict in doing the tests. For example, now we just came back from the temple in Guangzhou. We spent about 9 days there. And there started to be like some 500 cases in Guangzhou, which is nothing compared to other countries and all. But here in China, they still try to remove completely all cases from the street, from the public level. So we had to do the test every day. So every day we had to go do that test in the throat and so on. And so many restrictions are there. But we can see that we are not always successful. It's not because we are seeking a pleasurable position that we will naturally achieve it. And it's not because we're trying to protect ourselves from suffering that we will achieve it. In fact, we can see now that this so-called protection from suffering that is going on here in China is creating higher suffering. I'm sure you've all heard of a couple of months ago in Shanghai, how they locked up the whole city for a few months. And how much suffering occurred from that. Some people actually committed suicide. They could not bear just being locked up in their homes. And here in China, it's very, the government has full power. They can do things that would not be possible in other countries, like completely locking up the doors and so on. People cannot escape their apartments. So a lot of people committed suicide, jumped from their balcony. And here in China, most apartments are in high-rise buildings, So sometimes we try to counteract our distress, but in fact we are increasing it. So different type of persons, different type of living entity will be seeking the same thing, which is pleasure, but in different aspects of our life. Now we have got this field of activity, which is called the body. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he speaks of that. He calls this body the field. The field and the knower of the field. Okay, so this he speaks. So as I said, I will not be able to share my screen today. So I will be speaking. So just please listen. Now, so in the chapter 13 of the Bhagavad Gita, which is called Nature, the Enjoyer, and Consciousness. Okay. So Arjuna is asking, so first and second text. Arjuna said, "Oh my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field and the knower of the field, and of knowledge and the object of knowledge." The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "This body, O son of Kunti, is called the field." Okay, just one moment. Okay, I will try to close the door. Because my wife and the children are there. I hope it won't disturb the connection. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, this body, O son of Kunti, is called the field. And one who knows this body is called the knower of the field. So, okay, it might be a little bit confusing here, but Lord Krishna is speaking about the body. Because the whole starting point of spiritual knowledge is to understand that there's two things. There is the body and there's the knower of the body. So there is the object and the subject, right? So for example, we always say my nose, my eyes, my ears, and so on, but we are not nose, we are not eyes. The other day I was sitting with my son and I was telling him, we say my nose, but is Papa a nose? Papa means father in French. So is Papa a nose? So he said, oh no. So he was saying the same thing. Oh, my ear, is Sudam an ear? So I was saying, no, Sudam is not an ear. So in this way, you can point out each and every part of your gross body and your subtle body also. You say my mind, my intelligence, my ego. So we always say my. So us, we are the subject, but all these things that we can enumerate and put the my word in front is not us. So these are the field of activity, okay? So Arjuna is asking about Prakriti, which is nature, which is material nature. So earth, water, fire, air, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Ether also, so 8 separate material energy. Then Purusha, okay, here we will go in the comment section a bit later, but quickly there's a good comment now by Dimitri Prabhu. He says, some people say my soul. Yes, so that is not based on knowledge though, because that is saying they are actually the soul. You know, they're saying my soul, but actually this is a misunderstanding. They think themselves to be the mind or the material body. You know, so the whole mistake is there. Now we need, because consciousness, what is soul? First of all, that has to be established. Otherwise, how can we know, right? So Srila Prabhupada describes the soul as conscious and consciousness. It is both. Just like the sun is both the localized globe and the rays of the sun. You cannot separate any of them. So similarly, soul has to be both conscious and consciousness. And Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he says that which is spread throughout the entire body is indestructible. So what is that? That is the consciousness. But the soul proper is localized. We know from the Upanishad that it is 1/10,000 the tip of the hair, and it is located in the heart of the living entity. So it is a very, very small particle of spirit, yet its light is shining throughout the entire body. So the consciousness is there, spread out everywhere. So he wants to know about Prakriti, which is nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, the field, and the knower of the field. So then text 3, so this is 13.3. O sign of Bharata, you should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies. And to understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. That is my opinion. So here we have Krishna, who is saying that what is knowledge actually? Knowledge is not some technical knowledge like we think of now. What we learn now in university is more like art. Srila Prabhupada says that there's 2 realms of education. There's one that is knowledge and one that is art, or science and art. So art is how to manipulate matter. It's not based on knowledge because it doesn't understand that there's 2 things, which is spirit and matter. Here, Arjuna is asking the field and the knower of the field. So 2 things. So that has to be classified as knowledge. So to know that there is a possessor of the body and then there's the body, that is knowledge. But all this rocket science, whatever they do, it is not, it is simply an art. It's how to manipulate the inferior elements. So it's an artistic skill. Now, text 4. Now please hear my brief description of this field of activity and how it is constituted, what its changes are, when it is produced. Okay, so this is more technical. Now, yes. So my point, I wanted to stress on this, that the field and the knower of the field. So what is this field of activity? Just like now, I'm speaking and you are listening. So you are more situated within your hearing sense, is it not? You're trying to focus on the knowledge that is being spoken, and therefore your consciousness is shining within your hearing sense. Although you are also conscious of other aspects of your existence now, other aspects, other department of your field. For example, you are all probably sitting down at the moment, so you are feeling the sensation of being sitting on a seat. So maybe you have a subtle backache at the moment, maybe your seat is too hard, or so on. So that sensation is still going on there somewhere, but you're not focusing on that. Therefore, you're not active in that field, in that part of your field. You're being active in the sense of hearing. When we are eating, we become more active in the sense of the tongue, of taste. We put all of our consciousness in trying to like it. Or not everyone. Some people are very distracted now. They like to watch TV, right, while eating their meals and so on. But the point is this, is that there are different categories, department of existence that are always with us. And us, the soul, can shine the consciousness into different places. So when we try to seek pleasure, we must be seeking it in that realm of activity, that realm of the field. So we can seek it in the tongue, we can seek it in the eyes, we can see it in the brain. So all of this is lower because the sense gratification arises when the senses are in contact with sense objects. Sense objects means, that's very easy to understand, a sense object like a banana is a sense object, mainly for the tongue, because you taste it, it's a sense object for the tongue, but it's also a sense object for the eyes, it's a sense object for the touch, but mainly for the tongue, right? So we have, in this way, we have so many different sense objects. And when one of our senses comes in contact with one of them, then there is this sense gratification that arises, okay? So this platform of trying to seek pleasure or happiness in that realm, in that area of the field of activity, is the activities of animalistic life. Because all animals seek pleasure only within the senses. They do not seek pleasure in the mind. They do not seek pleasure in intelligence or in ego, not even, so what to speak of the soul. They are simply seeking pleasure in the senses. So, if we, human civilization, is also undergoing the pursuit of happiness, right? This is like in the Constitution of America, they call it like that, that every American has the right for his pursuit of happiness. So if we pursue happiness within the senses only, we have not evolved from the platform of animalistic life. Because we are more intelligent, we are capable of creating more sense objects. This is the difference. A dog, first of all, his senses are not very developed, his working senses especially. You can see that the dog paw cannot use tools, or hardly. He has got claws, he can dig holes and so on. But you know, the hands are made that we can do much more with those. Now, hands alone are not definitive. You require intelligence, because monkeys have got hands that are practically like ours, yet they cannot do things that we can. So our intelligence is much higher, and actually this is the real distinction between animals and us. It's simply intelligence. Otherwise, they do everything like us. They also feel emotions, they're also sad, they're also angry. All these things are there. Once, His Grace Sundagopa Prabhu, our Shiksha Guru in Singapore, he said that when he was still in his Grihastha ashram at that time, he had brought his son. You know, now his son, of course, he's about my age. So when his son was young, he went to the zoo, and he told me that, you know, he had seen a monkey that was there. And people were kind of pointing at the monkey and laughing and so on. And he said that he saw the monkey pick up his own stool and then throwing it at the people, at the tourists, you know. So Sinagoga Prabhu told me that when I saw this, I saw that, he's a person, he's angry. He doesn't like that we're pointing at him and laughing and so on. So there's no difference except for intelligence. This is the very distinction between human beings. So because we have got this intelligence, but still the intelligence becomes subservient to the senses, because we've got sense objects which are inert. They're not conscious. Just like this mouse is not conscious. It is a sense object. It is there. Above sense objects are the senses. This is described in the Bhagavad Gita. So this realm here is the senses. You have 5 knowledge acquiring senses. Okay, eyes, smell, taste, hearing, and touch. And then you have 5 working senses. You have the tongue that allows it to speak. Simply by speaking, we can work, right? You do this, you do that. No, don't come here. Be careful. So there's work, there's activities coming simply by speaking out. Then there's the arms. Everybody knows, we need arms to build buildings, to do things. There's the legs to move about. And then there's the sex and the anus. So the sex of reproduction and the anus for evacuation. So those are the 5 working senses. So if we seek pleasure only within these senses, we are at the lowest stage of our pursuit of happiness. And that stage is shared with us by all other living entities. Just like in the morning, early morning, I'm sure you have all seen a flock of birds flying together. Now, what is the purpose of that? Many times you see like pigeons, especially they really like it. Pigeons they fly very fast, and a group, flock of pigeons together. So early in the morning, they like this. They're also enjoying, right? There's the nice morning breeze. The sunrise is there. The air is fresh, so you see that the pigeons are, and they do rounds like this. They go again, and then when they're tired, they come back. Right? So they're also doing exercise. So if we're doing our jogging, we're doing the exact same thing as the pigeons are doing. We're simply trying to enjoy a little bit of this pleasure of feeling some, muscle being tired, or the lungs pumping more air, bringing more oxygen in the brain and so on. So pigeons also do that. Dogs also, they like it. Everyone knows that when a dog goes out for a walk, they become all excited and they want, they start to run everywhere you throw the ball, and they do. So they also try to enjoy, and the working senses too, right? Because they run, they catch the ball, so all these things. So this is the lowest field of activity where we can try to seek pleasure. But that is not satisfying. If it was, if this is the area where we could be satisfied, then it would be very obvious. Everybody would feel fully satisfied in this, but we don't. We become disgusted after some time. It does not satisfy us fully. And therefore we have to always change and change and change. Prahlad Maharaj in the Srimad Bhagavatam is calling that chewing the truth. Just like every single year, those famous artists and movies, and they must release something new. Because you cannot just go on chewing the same thing. Like those movie, they have to do, second and then third and fourth and fifth. It just goes on and on and on, because you cannot just get that one movie and watch it again and again and again, and you'll become actually suffering. So the very same thing, sense object, that movie, right? Sense object for the eyes and the ear, which you're seeking pleasure in, you're trying to squeeze out as much as you can. Yes, it's a nice movie. Okay, maybe I'll watch it a second time next week. And then, how about a third time, fourth time, fifth time? That very sense object would become a source of misery. Let's say that I tie someone up and I play the same movie again and again, 24 hours. That person will become crazy. So that very same sense object will become the exact opposite of what we thought. Oh, I will become happy with this, but no, you will become distressed. Same thing with songs. They have to release so many artists a new album every year, right? So a quick side note with that is the real distinction, how we can understand where real pleasure lies, is that the thing that we will be seeking pleasure in will always bring us pleasure, no matter how many times we We seek pleasure in that thing. So for example, the Mahamantra Hare Krishna, Prabhupada often said, we are not trying to seek a different mantras. Or although the prayers, the songs, every single morning in all temples, the devotee, they wake up and they sing the Samsaradava prayer, which is a prayer to the spiritual master. It's the same song every morning. Samsaradava dana lila loka tranarya karunya kana kanadvam. So when you talk about the devotee like His Grace Sunda Gopal Prabhu, who has been doing Mangal Arti for 40 plus years, almost 45 years, now you do the calculation, 1 year, 365 days. So how many times has he sung this song in his life? You do the math. And he's not tired of it. Every single morning he's there and he's enjoying it. That is absolutely impossible to do on the material platform. If you have any song, it doesn't matter, You try to sing the Indian national anthem every morning when you wake up. Let's see how you feel after a month. You'll go nuts. So this is the clue, This Hare Krishna Mahamantra is composed of 3 words. Srila Prabhupada often gives this example. It's Hare Krishna and Rama, that's all. And we repeat them again and again and again and again. And the more we do so, the more we will feel pleasure. But not in the beginning, not in the beginning. And a side note. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita concerning seeking pleasure within the senses. So this is chapter 2, text 55. One moment. Okay. So Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvam Parthamanugatan Atmanyevatmana Tushta Sthita Prajnasta Dochate. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. So the Lord is trying to retract us from this quest of pursuit of happiness within the material realm, the material field of activity. What is that again? The senses, the working senses, the mind, intelligence, and the ego. At the moment, we're seeking pleasure in those areas of our field of activity. But Krishna is saying, and when his mind does purify and finds satisfaction in the self alone. So the clue is there, is that this gratification has to come, it has to be soul gratification. Now we say sense gratification, but the gratification, the pleasure has to come from the soul. So let's say I touch something very soft, okay? So now I'm touching it, I'm focusing. Now my consciousness is focusing in my sense of touch, and I'm trying to feel pleasure from that, okay? But this is away from me. It is not me. It is away, it is something else. It is outside. It is within the material realm, the material field of activity. But spiritual pleasure will be coming from the very core of our soul. This is where we will be actually feeling real spiritual bliss. It will not be external, but internal. Yes. So another good verse, sometimes some yogis or gurus, they come and they still engage in sense gratification. They still smoke hookah or whatever, cigarette, ganja. They still play frisbee. They still ride their motorcycle. A whole bunch of things that normal people do, that even dogs do, right? I saw, what is the difference between someone riding a motorcycle and a pit bull? Those pit bull dogs, the ugly one, on a skateboard. Somehow or other, I don't know, I've seen many thumbnails with pit bulls and skateboards, throughout the years. So they somehow or other, this breed of dog, they can ride skateboards very well. So what is the difference between a bearded man enjoying his ride on his motorcycle and a pit bull on the skateboard? There's no difference. Both of them are enjoying the feeling of touch. It is mainly the touch feeling that is going on, right? Because you're going very fast, you're feeling the wind, you're feeling the, the acceleration of speed, all the different movement within the body. You know, so it's sense gratification, there's no doubt about that. But what does Krishna says about that? So this is Bhagavad Gita chapter 5 text 22. Yehi samsparsha bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adyantavantaha kaunteya nate shuramate buddha. Translation: an intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, which are due to contact with the material senses, O son of Kunti. Such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. So wise man here, intelligent, Krishna is saying an intelligent person, and then he's saying a wise man, does not take part in the source of misery. So what brings us misery is sense gratification, to try to seek pleasure within the realm of the senses. That is what is going to be giving us miseries in the long run. Immediately, okay, if you want to say, no problem, like you're of course, the highest, what is the highest sense pleasure in this material world? Sex life, isn't it? So, sex life, what are those verses? Now let us, first, before, we will come back to this verse. What Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, I believe, chapter 18, he speaks about different type of happiness according to the three modes of material nature. So I believe most of you know about the three modes: mode of passion, mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Those are all material modes. So the Lord speaks about happiness in the mode of passion. So that is the happiness that is that comes from the senses. So let's read that. So this is chapter 18, text 38. Vishayendriya samyogad yattatagre mritopamam pariname vishamiva tatsukham rajasam smritam. That happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects, and which appears like nectar at first, but poison at the end, is said to be in the nature of passion. So, at the beginning it looks like nectar. Afterward, it is like poison. So Prabhupada gives a very blunt example in the purport. A young man and a young woman meet, and the senses drive the young man to see her, to touch her, and to have sexual intercourse. In the beginning, this may be very pleasing to the senses, but at the end, or after some time, it becomes just like poison. They are separated, or there is divorce, there is lamentation, there is sorrow, etc. Such happiness is always in the mode of passion. Happiness derived from a combination of the senses and the sense objects is always a cause of distress and should be avoided by all means. So the very platform on which the entire world functions right now is driven by that, or at least the most majority. They seek pleasure within the senses. So here the example is it's a fact. A young man and women, they meet, right? Oh, okay, they enjoy sex. Oh, I'm pregnant. What to do? Oh, all right, okay, let's keep the child. And those of you who have got children, you know there's suffering involved. Of course, we might try to hide it. No, married life is nice. I love my children. Okay, that's all right. But we cannot deny that there's suffering involved. First of all, pregnancy. It's not easy for the wife. The husband also has to be able to help the wife. Now, delivery. How much pain is shown. I don't know, some of you who are mother and father. So mothers, you know much more than us. But father, we've seen the pain that our wives went through. You know, it's not something nice, not something that they will want to be doing, you know. So it starts in pain. The wife is crying in pain. The baby is crying in pain. It starts in suffering. So how did that start? By the sexual attraction. Men and women, they are sexually attracted to one another, and it starts like nectar at first. You're so beautiful, you're young, let us enjoy, right? So it's so nice, it's romantic, they say. But you cannot just have this part. Each sense gratification must be followed by some misery of some type. But because we're so unintelligent, we cannot see these things. We have problem to see a chain of reaction that goes further than like immediate reaction, you know? I throw a rock in the water and boom, there's a splash. That much I can know. But all other effects of that rock being thrown, so that, you know. So similarly, what we do, we cannot understand all the reaction that are going to be coming. Just like when Mr. Ford, there's a famous quote of Mr. Ford saying, if I would have asked people what they wanted, they would have told me faster horses. So meaning, you know, they did not know what was best. I know what was best, cars with wheels and so on, you know. So he thought this is the problem solved, because horses, they're slower, you know, they pass stool, right? They used to have, that used to be a job before. People who just pick up horses' stool. They used to walk in the street, they had their wheelbarrow behind them, you know, and then all the horse stool they used to, that used to be a real job. So so Mr. Ford is thinking, voila, I've solved the matter. But did he calculate how much CO2 would have been, you know, so much so that now the sky doesn't even look blue anymore, that the air that we breathe is, you know, contaminated with so much, that so much factories have to be opened to do all those tires and those cars, the traffic jam that people have to be into, the hellish situation that some people now consider getting a job in another city. Because before, when you had a horse, well, you were limited. Okay, maybe I'll work, you know, on the field there, or maybe I'll go to the town, or, you know, it was not far away. Your work had to be close to you. But now, no, you have a car, you can drive, you know, 120 kilometers per hour, so you can go to the next city. So in this way, it's creating so much distressful situation. I mean to say, you know, car jam, right? What is that? Traffic jam. And we haven't even spoken of death, you know, car accident. You can die. It's going to work now, you can die. That was not there before. And now people die simply, you know, saying bye to their wife in the morning. Bye, I'll see you when I come home. But he doesn't come home. Why? Because Mr. Ford invented the car. So in this way, we can always link up. We can always see a chain of suffering following sense gratification. So that is not the area where we should be seeking happiness. Okay. Now to finish those 3 verses, the previous verse to that, so 1837, the Lord is saying, Yattadagre vishamiva pariname mritopamam tatsukam sadvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. That which is in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. So a spiritualist, a religionist or spiritualist, he has to be undergoing some austerities to unveil that real happiness which is found within the self, the soul. There is no way that by going it easy peasy, you can find that happiness, that spiritual happiness. So many bogus gurus are there that you do whatever you want, it doesn't matter, you can still practice spiritual life. No, you have to drink some poison-like substance first. It's not poison, but it tastes like poison in the beginning. Srila Prabhupada says, in the pursuit of self-realization, one has to follow many rules and regulations to control the mind and the senses, and to concentrate the mind on the self. All these procedures are very difficult, bitter like poison. But if one is successful in following the regulations and comes to the transcendental position, he begins to drink real nectar and he enjoys life. So that is what we have to be seeking, that real nectar. So what is that poison-like activities that we're speaking? Just like waking up early in the morning, nobody likes this. Now recently our son, Krishna Sudam, he started to wake up now every morning. He's 4 years and a few months. So I never thought of making him wake up that early. I mean, I thought 5 years old I would start, but due to circumstances, it fits better now. It's better for the schedule. So he wakes up early. He wakes up at 4:30 every day now. So I can tell you, he really thinks it's poison. Every single morning we have to endeavor, and for us also it's poison like, because every morning we go there and he's like, I don't want to wake up. So some morning is tougher than others. Some morning he's more cooperative, but generally, yes, it's a bit of a fight. So I need to carry him, and he cries, and then bring him in, and so on. So for me also it's poison, but I know that this is important. Poison like, not poison. Poison like, meaning it's painful. But I know that this is good for him, because if he starts the training so early, then all this, training of what tastes like poison in the beginning, but then nectar after, he will very fast taste that nectar. Whereas if someone starts very late, it's harder also. Education is much more easier for young children. So I know this is good for him. Me also in the beginning, because I used to have very bad lifestyle before starting to chant and read Bhagavad Gita. I was very much fallen, So to wake up early was very difficult for me. We all come from different backgrounds. I know some devotees that were already very pious, and that when they started to live in the temple and wake up early, they could do it. For example, when I went to Singapore for the first time in 2014. So Tadvavid Prabhu was there, and I was waking up in the morning, and it was hard for me still. And I asked Tadvavid Prabhu, I said, was it hard for you in the beginning to do all these things? And he said, no, I loved it. This is what I always wanted. So I was like, okay, we don't come from the same. So some people, because they have a more pious background, they have not also done as many sins as others, it's easier for them. But those of us who are, very sinful, there's a heavy load that has to be purified before we start to appreciate it. So yes, so this is where we have to be trying to seek pleasure within the self, not within the senses. Now, above the senses is the mind, and some part of the population, a very small percentage, will seek pleasure within the mind instead of the gross senses. So such people are more intelligent, because they understand that why should I waste my time simply, eating a pizza, doing this, doing that, doing. I should try to seek, have some answers, or, for example, philosophers, right? Scientists, they're all within the realm of the mind, because they enjoy their speculation. There's a famous philosopher at the moment. He's famous mainly not because of his philosophy, but more because he takes active part in social discussions and political. He's from Canada, he's a professor. And he's been famous, I believe, especially because he deals a lot with the issue of men and women equal rights, which is Jordan Peterson. Yes, Dimitri Prabhu, Jordan Peterson. So he's a gentleman from Canada, and I think he became famous especially for this, because of men, women equal rights. So because, as you might know, in the West now, especially like in Canada, they're making so many crazy rules, like you cannot say like mankind anymore, because some women get offended and so on. So they're trying to make men and female equal, and Jordan Peterson approached this with a very, he's very intelligent, philosopher. He can emulsify the mind, to make many different ideas, and he can analyze things very nicely. Of course, he's still imperfect, because he doesn't have the guidance of the Vedas. He doesn't go to the Vedas. And unless you go to the Vedas, you cannot be said to be within the realm of intelligence yet. You're still within the realm of the mind, because all you're saying is mental speculation. So at one point, Mr. Peterson I watched one of his conversation that he had with a younger philosopher who was Indian, but I believe he was born and raised in America or maybe England. So I watched, you know, some part of their discussion because I wanted to, okay, let's see how two philosophers speak. And they were discussing of some ideas, and the way that they were discussing, actually I could follow absolutely everything and I could answer whatever they were saying, you know. And this is just amazing. It was amazing to me because I was thinking, what am I am a school dropout, you know. I dropped out of high school and I had to finish it later on, uh, you know, as a, you know, a special school without teacher where you study on your own and all. I was a bad student, so I'm no one, you know, qualification speaking, I'm nobody. So how is it that I could follow what they were saying? Actually, they came to the point of discussing how does knowledge come, how does inspiration come, what is the source of that inspiration. So they were quoting from different philosophers like Carl Jung and all, and you know, and basically they are seeking the super soul, because this is what, and this is called a jnani. So the jnani is capable of going within, or you can say muni if you want. The muni is capable of going inside and start dissecting the different department of existence that we spoke in the beginning. You know, you start to, okay, this is the sense of hearing, this is the sense of touch, this is the, okay, this is the mind here. Am I the mind, or is the mind a tool that I'm using? Now the mind is giving so many suggestions. Okay, so these thoughts, where are these thoughts coming from? Is there a reservoir of all these thoughts? How are they being formed? So in this way, he's going within and he's capable of starting to analyze. You know, what is the distinction between mind and intelligence? You know, I'm hearing two voices. Okay, now let's say I want to quit eating chocolate or whatever. Now I have this passion within me that is trying to bring me towards this chocolate. What is that? Okay, and why is there something else that is telling me not to do? What is that? Okay, that is intelligence. Okay, and the mind is being dragged by the sense of tongue and so on. So you start to be able to see all these things that are within. So this is the neti process. I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not this, I'm not that. So in this way you dissect, and you can come, actually by mental speculation, you can reach the platform of understanding that you're not the body. And of course, there has to be some blessings from the Lord. Nothing is done independently. But my point is that even without a spiritual master, without a pure devotee, you can come to understand that. But there has to be some blessings of God. But still, the example that Prabhupada quoted is Socrates. So Socrates, he came to the point of understanding, yeah, I'm not this body. And there's a famous painting. If you type Socrates' death, you will see there's a painting of him holding a cup. It's actually a cup of poison, and the one handing him the cup is hiding like this, you know, he's giving him the cup. So because he was challenged, you say, if you're 100% sure that you're not the body, then why don't you just commit suicide? You won't care at all. Okay, let me charge my phone. Why don't you just commit suicide? You won't die anyway. So Socrates said, okay, I don't mind proving it to you. So this is how he died. He just drank the poison. So he was convinced, you know, beyond doubt, because he was not fearful. So beyond doubt, he was convinced that he was not the body. So such muni are so rare, you know. Who can understand that? Who can come to that conclusion through simply mental speculation? This process is just for very, very unique souls. You know, he was definitely not a normal soul. But because he did not have a spiritual master who is a pure devotee of the Lord, he could not penetrate higher than that. Anyway, so those munis, those philosophers and scientists, they are within the realm of mental speculation, manoratena, the chariot of the mind. So this mind, this plane of the mind is endless. Because thoughts are endless, right? In the Mahabharata, when Maharaj Yudhishthira was asked by Yaksha, what is more numerous than the stars in the sky, than the grains of sand than the blades of grass. And Maharaj Yudhishthira, I believe he said thoughts or desires. Is it desires? I think he said thoughts, you know. So thoughts are innumerable. And such munis are capable of agitating the mind so that there's an emulsification of thoughts coming, and then they take pleasure in that. It is some subtle sense gratification, because the mind is said to be belonging to the senses also, because all the senses are grouped upon the mind. We enjoy the senses through the mind. So the munis are there and they're seeking pleasure in their philosophies, but this is also not perfect, because such munis also don't feel satisfaction in establishing their own philosophy, and other munis come and defeat their philosophies and so on. So it's not the goal yet, because you're still not situated in the self. You still don't feel the pleasure coming from the soul proper. You know, it's within the mind. And and then there's the realm of intelligence. And when we come to the realm of intelligence, then we come to Vedic literature. Because Vedic literature is, Vedas. Vedas means knowledge. So when we come to study the Vedas and we take pleasure in studying the Vedas, then we are seeking pleasure in the intelligence, getting knowledge, right? Because when you start to read Vedic literature, wow, you start to learn so many things. So when you start to enjoy all this knowledge that you're reading, you're getting that knowledge from this sastra, that knowledge from this sastra. Then you're seeking pleasure in the intelligence. So in this way, it expands, you see. There are these different realization of the self are the different stages of Brahman realization, actually. Or shall I say, the different way that someone realizes Brahman to be. So this is the 5 stages of consciousness. So there is a Annamaya, Pranamaya, Jnanamaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. Okay, so this is in the purport of Bhagavad Gita 13.5. So I can read this. So there is a manifestation of the Supreme Lord's energy known as Annamaya, by which one depends simply upon food for existence. This is a materialistic realization of the Supreme. So pretty much every living entity have got this Annamaya realization. For example, I saw the other day there was the birth of bees. Bees are born as larvas, and as soon as they're born, they eat the kind of plasma, I don't know how you call it, but the what was covering them, which is made of kind of fat. So they start to eat that. But as soon as they're born, they know how to do already. So that realization is there with us for many, many lifetimes, because we've been doing this. This is another thing that Prabhupada has challenged greatly, this theory of instinct. There's no such thing as instinct. Instinct does not, what does that mean, instinct? Prabhupada said, when you think for a second, what is instinct? What does it actually mean? There's no meaning to it. What is instinct? What does that mean? Okay, instinct, the birds fly from south to north every year, from north to south every year, due to instinct. What do you mean by instinct? It simply means that we have done this before, and now we know how to do it. That's all. Because we've been in different material bodies, for billions of lifetimes, we know that food has to come in the mouth. So this knowledge is there, and it's given by the super soul. We had already acquired that before. Just like a chess player. There's this famous chess player now he's a bit older, but Magnus, I believe, he's a master chess player, right? Magnus something. So this Magnus, when he was 8 years old, he was taking on some of the best chess player in the world, and he was only 8 years old. So why is that? It's just mean that he's been playing chess for many lifetimes, that's all. He has been practicing chess for so many lifetimes, and now he's born again, and although he's 8 years old, all that baggage of chess playing has followed him. Super soul is with him, right? Krishna is within the heart, and he knows that, you know what, you've been playing chess for 5 lifetimes already. Now you want to be doing the same thing. That's what you like. So I'm giving you again that knowledge. So this is how it is. There's no such thing as instinct. They also have intelligence. You know, how the birds, they fly together. At one point, Prabhupada was walking with some disciples on the beach or somewhere. I don't know if it was on a beach. And then flock of birds flew, you know, and you know how they fly, right? They can follow each other perfectly, you know, and they don't run into one another. Actually, I should say they don't fly into one another. So the disciple asked Prabhupada, they say, how can they do that? You know, they don't fly in one another and they follow each other. So Prabhupada laughed. He said, yeah, they're more intelligent than you. And all the devotees laughed. Prabhupada said, at least in the matter of flying, they're more intelligent than you. So they know better than us. When it comes to flying, they're more intelligent than us. That's a fact. So it's intelligence, that's all. Just like why someone is flying an airplane nicely. He just has the what is intelligence? Intelligence means practical application of knowledge. That is intelligence. I have got some knowledge, I've learned, I've read the books and all. Now I'm here, I'm flying, I'm in the cockpit and there's some strong wind. Okay, I remember doing this, I remember that. I press this button, I turn like this. It's just he knows how to practically apply, so he's intelligent. So those who are less intelligent, they don't drive so well. Cars, you know. You know, sometimes they say that women drivers are worse than men drivers. So that is due to intelligence. And of course, I don't want to be starting to criticize, but for example, here in China, it's a fact that they're not good drivers. You know, I don't know if you've heard of this in your country, but us in Canada, when I was, you know, still there, they were saying Asian drivers are bad. And, you know, and it's true, it's fact. So somehow or other, I don't know if it has to do with a lesser intelligence, but I guess it is, you know. So when your intelligence is low, you're not capable to apply the knowledge which you've learned practically in life. So the birds are capable, you know, the birds are capable to do that. So there's no such thing as instinct. This is all bogus. It's a way that the material scientists are there. It's another way to evade getting closer to understanding the existence of God. That's all. So because it's an evasive word, you know. They don't know how to explain it. Oh, it's instinct. You know, so many lifetimes of so many evolution theory, this, that. Okay, so who has engraved the experience, and who is giving back the experience to that person? You know, it's nonsense. You cannot avoid that there's a third party involved. Someone else is there giving us the intelligence. So yeah, so Annamaya. So as I said, every baby knows. Immediately try to seek, when the babies are born, human babies, they seek the mother's breast. They know, and they start sucking. And then Pranamaya. Then there's Pranamaya. This means that after realizing the supreme absolute truth in foodstuff, one can realize the absolute truth in the living symptoms or life forms. Okay, so this is Haya. So Prana, right? Prana, the life force, the life air. So you start to realize Brahman, or the absolute truth, as living symptoms. Then Jnanamaya, the living symptom developed to the point of thinking, feeling, and willing. Okay, so that is the realm of the those philosophers I was talking about, the Jnanis. You know, they like to think and feel and so on. And then there is the Brahman realization called Vijnanamaya, by which the living entity's mind and life symptoms are distinguished from the living entity himself. So this Vijnanamaya realization comes, that is basically the end of the Jnanamaya. It's where you realize that you're distinguished from the living entity itself. Basically, it's the Brahman realization, Brahma Bhuta, you know. And then next supreme stage is Anandamaya, so realization of the all blissful nature. Thus, there are 5 stages of Brahman. So this Anandamaya is the real platform of getting spiritual happiness. And this is what we have to be seeking. So we should not be seeking in the senses, we should not be seeking in the mind or in, you know, mental speculation, or just being satisfied by studying that we're not the body and so on. We have to be linking ourselves with the Anandamaya Abhyasa. So with the Ananda person. And that is devotional service. So this is where really we would be feeling. But it takes some time because, as we saw, it is poison in the beginning, but then nectar at the end. But if we do things properly, under the proper guidance of a spiritual master, and if we're serious about it, then we will start to develop spiritual symptoms. So in the scripture, it is said that those spiritual symptoms and those spiritual feelings are not like anything else we will have experienced. How are they described? Hair standing on end. So there's two types of hair standing on end, Prabhupada says. One is due to fear, and one is due to actual spiritual feelings. So fear standing on end, that is not happiness, that is not pleasure, it's just a material feeling. But when one will start to feel this surge of energy that makes all the hair stand on end, he will understand that this is emanating from the soul itself. So following this is tears. There's this verse, if any of you knows it, that says, if one doesn't have the hair that stands on end, how can he cry for the Lord? There's one of verse like that in the Srimad Bhagavatam, I believe. Let me see if I can find it. So these spiritual symptoms of bliss are there in the Vedic literature. They tell us what is it that we are going to be experiencing. Okay, that's another one. Okay, this one I can read it also. This is from Sanatan Goswami from his Hari Bhakti Vilas. So this is a good hammer on the head, just to let us know that we're not so much advanced. So Sanatan Goswami is saying, one whose hair does not stand on end while chanting the holy names of Krishna possesses a heart that is as hard as a thunderbolt. So I don't know about you, but I think my heart is pretty hard, that I'm not, So this is one of the symptoms being described here. We're supposed to have our hair standing on end. So that is a symptom of spiritual happiness. Okay. Okay. This is a bit the same verse, but found in the Bhagavatam. So this is Canto 2, Chapter 3, Text 24. Certainly that heart is steel framed. So before it was hard like a thunderbolt, now it's steel framed. Which, in spite of one's chanting the holy name of the Lord with concentration, does not change when ecstasy takes place. Tears fill the eyes, and the hairs stand on end. So in the purport, this is one part of the purport, Srila Prabhupada is telling us, we must always remember that hearing and chanting are the basic principles of discharging devotional duties. And if they are properly performed, there will follow the reactional ecstasy with signs of tears in the eyes and standing of the hairs on the body. So if we are actually here following the basic principle of discharging devotional duties, Prabhupada said, if they're properly performed, this is supposed to occur. This is a scientific, spiritual. I do not know all of you here who are joined. Are you acquainted with Srila Prabhupada's books and so on? But the basic principles for us is to chant 16 rounds a day, for those who are initiated especially, and to follow 4 regulative principles: no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, and no illicit sex. Now, to chant our 16 rounds, there are 10 offenses that we must give up. And if we are seriously trying to give up these offenses, or if we have given up these offenses, this is supposed to be occurring. What is that? Signs of tears in the eyes. So when we'll be chanting, there will be tears in our eyes. Standing of the hairs on the body, we will be feeling that. These are natural consequences and are the preliminary symptoms of the bhava stage, which occurs before one reaches the perfectional stage of prema, love of Godhead. Now one might be thinking, whoa, this is so high, and okay, that's all right. But if we're doing things properly, Prabhupada is saying that at least the preliminary symptoms, it's not that it's fully the bhava stage, but preliminary to bhava, this should be occurring. hair standing on end, and tears filling the eyes. If the reaction does not take place, even after continuous hearing and chanting of the holy name of the Lord, it may be considered to be due to offenses only. So if after some time, because of course there has to be anartha nivritti, that this is some practice where we have to burn up the stock of amassed sins, amassed anarthas. So if after some good time of chanting and hearing, and still it's not developing, it's due to offenses. So we have to be careful. There are so many nice classes by Tattvavid Das Brahmachari done on that, on offenses. If one wants to go in our ISKM TV channel, there is the a very nice Harinam Chintamani that Tattvavid Prabhu has done. So it's quite long, it's about 10 classes, I believe. And in this Harinam Chintamani, which was written by Bhaktivedanta Thakur, but which is in fact spoken by Haridas Thakur, the Acharya of the Holy Name, he explains very nicely all these 10 offenses, very elaborately explained. So then Prabhupada continues, that is the opinion of the Sandarbha. In the beginning of chanting of the holy name of the Lord, if the devotee has not been very careful about evading the 10 kinds of offenses at the feet of the holy name, certainly the reaction of feelings of separation will not be visible by tears in the eyes and standing of the hair on end. So why does the standing of the hair occur and the tears in the eye? Feelings of separation. So those feelings are not artificial. They are not from the senses, they are not from the mind, they are not from the intelligence, they are from the soul proper. These are spiritual feelings that the devotee will start to manifest. He will start to feel that. And where is my spiritual master? Where is my Lord? Why I'm so far away from them in this material world now? So all these feelings will give rise to these preliminary ecstasies, you see. So that is real pleasure. Even though it says crying or tears in the eyes, it's not material tears. We have so many examples in the Vedic literature of devotees, great devotees. There is another, actually there was another verse. It's not actually this one. This one, of course, is the one, but there's another one that says that first the hair must stand on end and then the tears will come. I cannot find it. Anyway, it's not that important. We have understood the most important here. So, yes, so such spiritual symptoms will come. Now, other symptoms that we're supposed to get. Okay. I think I'll just read that and then maybe we can start to take some questions. Okay, there are many permanentality. Okay, that's a bit too long maybe to read. Okay, so here this is from Nectar of Devotion. It is surely, I believe, quoted maybe from anyway, the Nectar of Devotion, from Sri Rupa Goswami. So here there's a list of 9. So Rupa, in the beginning of chapter 18 of Nectar of Devotion, character of one in ecstatic love. Rupa Goswami next describes the characteristics of a person who has actually developed his ecstatic love for Krishna. The characteristics are as follows. He is always anxious to utilize his time in the devotional service of the Lord. He does not like to be idle. He wants service always, 24 hours a day, without deviation. So unless one has got taste, unless one has got pleasure, how he could be doing that? You cannot artificially go on doing service in a mechanical way, because in our platform now we are doing this sadhana bhakti. So this with rules and regulations, it is more or less in a mechanical way. I must do like this, I must do like that. We are forcing the body to follow, or forcing the mind to follow. But the devotee who's on that platform, he's doing everything anxiously for the Lord. He wants to do, 2, he is always reserved and perseverant. So you see, I started the talk today saying that my perseverance dwindled recently. So obviously I'm not on that platform, because if I was, my perseverance would not dwindle, and it wouldn't matter which situation in my life I would come across, I would never be repressed. So 3, he is always detached from all material attraction. That is very high. No material attraction. You're not attracted to enjoy anything anymore. For oneself, right? What does material attraction mean? Material attraction means I am looking at everything in the mood of the enjoyer. This is meant for my enjoyment. My wife is mine. She's meant for my enjoyment. My children are mine. My money is mine. My car is mine. So that mood of being the enjoyer is gone. 4, he does not long for any material respect in return for his activities. So he's very, very humble. He's always certain. 5, he's always certain that Krishna will bestow his mercy upon him. So you can see that these things are not manifested in the neophytes. The neophyte will very much often lack faith that whether Krishna is pleased with him or not. Okay, what is going on now? Why is Krishna treating me like this? Why am I going through so many reverses, right? But the advanced devotee is always certain that Krishna will bestow his mercy upon him. He has no doubt about that. 6, he is always very eager to serve the Lord faithfully. 7, he is very much attached to the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. That is another big one. To be attached to chanting Hare Krishna, to like it, to feel pleasure in it, not to try to finish Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, and then finish the 16 rounds. Okay, finish, next. So, but to actually like doing this. Somewhere else, Prabhupada is describing that this is Madhyamadikari. The Madhyamadikari actually takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord. So the second class platform, for those of you who don't know, the devotee are classified in 3 categories: Kanishtarikari, neophyte; Madhyamadikari, middle; and Uttamadikari, the perfected devotee. So the Madhyamadikari platform, second platform, is a very elevated platform, because the devotee is actually enjoying, he's relishing chanting Hare Krishna. Okay, 8, he's always eager to describe the transcendental qualities of the Lord. He always wants to be the. So this is chapter 18, beginning of chapter 18, Nectar of Devotion. 9, he is very pleased to live in a place where the Lord's pastimes are performed: Mathura, Vrindavan, Dwarka, or a temple. Okay. So, of course, we went through these very fast. These can be elaborated upon, and there's so much to understand, but it's just to enumerate a little bit different aspect of spiritual pleasure. So, okay, we will go in the comment section now. Okay, so let me scroll down. So I'm happy to see that many of you have joined today. So if you have a question, please type it now, because I'm going through the comment section. So I'm seeing love from Vrindavan, India. So Keshav, Amazing World. I think is a Mataji. I believe she's in Vrindavan. Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining. Yes. So thank you for connected with your own account, or anyway, whoever is the devotee with ISKM TV, thank you for quoting the verses. Okay, here Tilak M is saying, how to wake up at 4 a.m. for Mangal Arti. I'm unable to give up. Okay, you're unable to wake up. So of course the most easy way is to do it with the devotees. I was not able to wake up at 4 a.m. on my own. When I started to read Srila Prabhupada books, Actually, I was alone. I was in China. I came to China in 2008, at the end of 2008. And at that time, my father had given me the Bhagavad Gita of Srila Prabhupada. And it's not until 2014 that I actually opened it. It was sealed, wrapped in plastic. And it's only in 2014 that I opened it in China. And this is when I started to read and chant on my own. At that time I was alone, and I was trying to wake up early in the morning, and I could never do it steadily. It would be sometimes, okay, I get up, I do it, and then the next day I don't. And mind you, I was coming from a background of drinking and smoking and all of that, so it was so hard for me, and it really became more easy when I started to associate with the devotees, when I met the devotees. Then first I came to a temple here in China. I met Labanga Mataji, the other Matajis, and they were waking up every day. So, so I was waking up every day. So we develop our qualities in according to our association. Everything is done with the association, whether good quality or bad quality. Everything will come with association. So this is from the Hari Bhakti Sudodaya 851. Yasya yat sangatihi pumso panivatsyat satat gunaha svakular dhyai tato dhiman svayudhanyeva samshratyet. As the qualities of a nearby object are reflected in a crystal, one similarly takes on the qualities of a person with whom he associates. Therefore, in order to increase one's devotional sentiment in his own line, a wise person should take shelter of those who have the same temperament. So if we want to be waking up to do Mangal Arti, we must associate with those who wake up and do Mangal Arti. Then Madhya Lila, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 22, text 83. The root cause of devotional service to Lord Krishna is association with advanced devotees. Even when one's dormant love for Krishna awakens, association with devotees is still most essential. So the root cause of devotional service, so why will we be able to wake up early in the morning, is due to association with devotees. That's all. So if you have a temple near you, you can go and do Mangal Arti in the morning. If there's a ISKCON temple near you, you can go and do Mangal Arti in the morning. But if you want association, even though you're far away, you should continue to do this. Come and attend those live classes. We have got many live classes. We have got actually a group. I will be sharing this here, so I'm sorry for Matajis. This is a group only for Prabhus, but there are groups also especially for Matajis. I don't know if anyone here can add the group for Matajis, a WhatsApp link invite or something. I don't know if it's possible for you to do that. I will be putting a link to our Telegram group, which is called ISKM Bhaktas. Let me see how to do this. Sorry. Info, add, okay, invite to group link, loading, copy link. All right, I think that should work. Now I'm putting for male devotees only. Sorry about this. So here, can you see this? I've posted, this is a group. The link here is to join our Telegram group. So you come into this group, all the Prabhus that are here, you can join, and in this way you'll be getting some association. This is the second best choice. If you cannot have physical association, then you have association like this, using all these methods of communication, modern communication tools. So there you can get some association and encouragement, so that you can start to yourself wake up and do Mangal Arti. Now, practical tips. Okay, don't go to bed too late. That's a no-brainer. Okay, so you start your evening early. You start to stop any sense gratification. Of course, you should not do sense gratification, but my point is any frivolous activity. Don't talk about work. Don't do mundane conversations in the evening and all. You just start to read Prabhupada books. Okay, you calm down the atmosphere. You read Prabhupada books. You chant Hare Krishna, and then you go to bed early. If you want to wake up early, you go to bed at 8, 9. You'll have plenty of rest, and you can wake up at 4, no problem. If you go to bed at 9 and you wake up at 4, if you manage to fall asleep at 9, you get 7 hours of sleep. That's enough. So this is one thing, and you must do it every day. Another practical tip, your alarm, your phone, I believe, right? You leave it far away in your room. Don't leave it right next to you, because why don't we wake up even though we put an alarm? The alarm goes off and boom, you just knock it off, and then sometimes you don't even realize. So put your phone far away. When like I have a lot of service and I go to bed very late and I'm scared that I won't wake up the next day, that's what I do. I leave my phone far away in my room. Like this, I have to wake up. I have to get up. Otherwise, the thing will just keep playing, I won't be able to sleep. But if I'm too tired, it happened a few times, I forgot to put my phone, and the phone is next to me, and you're too tired, and you're so tired, just dang, and then you hear the conch shell blowing, like, whoa, what happened? So don't leave the phone next to you. That's one thing. Don't eat heavy meals in the evening. That helps, right? Anyway, according to Ayurveda, we should not eat anything after sunset. So if you're eating something after sunset, something very light, some snack, puff rice or something. Prabhupada used to eat puff rice in the evening. So yes, and chant easy, because now we're starting to get motivation because of spiritual advancement, but we don't know what that means. So we don't really have impetus, the taxi drivers, they wake up very early. Some of them wake up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., but they have the impetus of Sanskrification to do it. But spiritual life, you don't have that impetus, that motivation anymore. So what are you going to do? So you have to get knowledge. You need to get transcendental knowledge to understand the importance of waking up early. So that you have to do by reading Prabhupada books. You must read. Okay. Where are we now? Okay, so Vishal is saying, yeah, that's why Plato is famous, because he called Socrates his master. He took all of Socrates' work and other philosophers as well and compiled it. Yeah. Yes, I believe Plato was a disciple of Socrates, right? Okay, Dimitri Prabhu is saying, dictionary says it's a natural quality that makes people and animals tend to behave in a particular way, using the knowledge and abilities that they were born with rather than thought or training. So this is the description of instinct. Yeah, so, okay, how come you're born with knowledge? How can you be born with knowledge? Who has inscribed this before? So they say this is the knowledge that was there from previous ancestors, right? I'm used to working with a tool. So they said that this knowledge is engraved in my DNA, and that knowledge will immerse, in my descendants, they will have this knowledge. This is nonsense. How is this going on? How is this happening? I'm not conscious of it. I'm not the one who's conscious of it, of putting this in my DNA. And you're not the one who's conscious of how it's happening. That means there's someone else working there. How you can deny that? A natural quality. What does that mean, natural? Again, all these words are so evasive. A natural quality. Okay, so there's unnatural quality. All right. So what is an unnatural quality? Some things that we develop within this lifetime. Is that what you mean? But the natural quality of this Magnus is that he's so good at chess at 8 years old. Did he develop that in 8 years of life? Not even 8 years, right? He must have started to play around 4 or 5. In 4 or 5 years, he's got this? No. So why his natural quality is like this? His ancestors were not chess experts. So, this is all bogus. Okay. Okay, so Rajeshwari Rao is saying, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, does inattentiveness in chanting builds up more anarthas? Yes, inattentive chanting is the beginning of all trouble for a devotee. Because when we chant inattentively, that means we're chanting with offenses. And what does that mean? That means that we're watering the anarthas. Because chanting means watering the creeper of devotional service. And instead of the creeper growing up and going to the stage of, as we were describing, having the tears in the eyes, and what's going to happen is that our anarthas are going to be growing. Okay, so this is explained here. Okay. Okay, so this is from Madhya Lila. So Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 19, text 153. Okay, no, maybe not this one. What? One moment. Huh? Okay, so Madhya Lila, chapter 19, 155. The creeper greatly expands in the Golaka Vrindavan planet, and there it produces the fruit of love for Krishna. Although remaining in the material world, the gardener regularly sprinkles the creepers with the water of hearing and chanting. So the water, this you can take this figurative if you want, but spiritually speaking, this is all factual. So the water of hearing and chanting is going to be making our devotional creeper grow. When we hear and chant with no attention, we are watering the weeds around. Okay. And here it is said, in the some of the next verse, water is misused. Okay. Yes. So this is a little bit later on. So Madhya Lila, chapter 19, text 160. Okay. Translation. If one does not distinguish between the Bhaktilata creeper and the other creepers, the sprinkling of water is misused because the other creepers are nourished with the Bhaktilata creeper while the Bhaktilata creeper is curtailed. And then Prabhupada explains in the purport. If one chants the Hare Krishna mantra while committing offenses, these unwanted creepers will grow. You see, and what all these unwanted creepers? There was the list before. I think we've okay. The verse prior to that, 159. Some unnecessary creepers growing with the bhakti creeper are the creepers of behavior unacceptable for those trying to attain perfection. Diplomatic behavior, that means doing things not directly, like speaking bad about this person, or I'm doing something with some other motive. I'm not being straightforward. Animal killing, right? You can start to eat meat again. That means mundane profiteering. You can desire to, buy a new beautiful car for yourself and so on. Mundane adoration. Oh, I'm a big devotee. Mundane importance. All these are unwanted creepers. But then, in the purport, it says that there's an unlimited number of unwanted creepers. Those material desire. So if we chant, going back to that 160. If one chants the Hare Krishna mantra while committing offenses, these unwanted creepers will grow. And this is very dangerous because why? A plant, that's why in the very beginning, we have to be trained up properly. We have to hear from advanced devotees so that these unwanted creepers are curbed down from the beginning. Why? Because if you water them, what happens when you water a small creeper? It becomes big, and then it becomes thick and it's hard to cut after that. And I can tell you that I know some devotees here, I'm seeing, there are 16 rounds. They're chanting the entire 16 rounds looking at their phone. That is the habit that has been going on. They're chanting their entire 16 rounds looking at their phone, buying stuff on, how they buy stuff these days. Even sometimes reading some mundane stories. So if you continue to do that, you continue to offensively chant like this, that unwanted creeper, that offense will become very thick, and that you won't be able to give it up, and then you'll just continue in your offense again and again and again and again and again. So it's very important that in the beginning you start to get a good habit. So what is that good habit? When I chant, I don't do anything else. I'm not in front of the computer. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm not, watching TV or anything. I'm just chanting. So let's say you're in your living room. You put Prabhupada's tape chanting Hare Krishna, and you just chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. And when you start to do your 16 rounds like this, every day, then you'll be able to give up the 10 offenses, and then you'll be able to feel the pleasure of chanting Hare Krishna. Okay, so yes, definitely. And it's important and very dangerous again is that a neophyte devotee won't be able to distinguish between the unwanted creeper and the creeper of bhakti. That is hard. The Madhyamadikari, he can distinguish, he can know. So that's why we need the Madhyamadikari around us to tell us what is right and what is wrong. Because sometimes when the unwanted creeper becomes so big, it appears to be the Bhakti Lata creeper. For example, oh, I need to buy a new house now because I'm gonna make a new center. Yeah, I gotta make a lot of money. Yeah, I'm doing devotional service. I'm working hard, making so much money, opening a business, and then you become entangled in material activity. You're thinking you're doing devotional service because you want to buy a house and start a so-called center, but what are you doing? You're working hard like a karmi and you're keeping all the money. So in this way, you become attached to this materialistic way of working in the name of devotional service. That's an unwanted creeper, and that's dangerous. And a Madhyamadikari can see that you're doing the wrong thing, but the neophyte will just lose his way. Okay, all right. Yes, so okay. Krishna KR, Hare Krishna Prabhu, how are you? Can material happiness and spiritual happiness go hand in hand? And Prabhuji, have you visited the holy places of Krishna in India? Any future plans to visit India? So material happiness and spiritual happiness cannot go hand in hand, just like oil and water, because they are diametrically opposite. Because material happiness means lust. The desire to satisfy one's own senses is called lust. And the desire to satisfy Krishna's senses is called prema, love. So they are diametrically opposite. Now, because we cannot fully give up our lust in the beginning, there's a way that we can and still have some sense gratification in a regulated manner so that we can slowly give it up. But there's no such thing as having prema with lust together. It's not where there's prema, there's no lust. Where there's lust, there's no prema. So the whole system is to help us give it up slowly. For example, Grihastha Ashram. Why Grihastha Ashram is there? It's there as a license for sex life. This is what Prabhupada said. Because sex urge is still there and the devotee is not capable of directly taking sannyas. So therefore he enters Grihastha Ashram. And there's sex life under strict regulations, And in this way, what is sex life? It's sense gratification. But it's not possible that one wants to continue having sex and attain prema or attain the higher realm of devotional service. You won't make advancement. You have to give up sex life altogether at one point. So it's little doses, just like sometimes they have those who want to quit smoking cigarette. What do they give? Those patches, right? They have some patch that gives some nicotine. So it's still some nicotine, but it's in small doses. So to give him, have him stop it, slowly, not all of a sudden. Because if he stop all of a sudden, he'll fall back completely into his bad habits. So this is a process. Slowly, we have to give up. But you cannot give up and do nothing. You cannot stop doing sense gratification. I don't do anything. No, therefore you must increase devotional service. That's how we give up. Because the cup is always full. What does that mean? It means the heart will always be full of desires. You cannot avoid. And desires are followed by activities. So we cannot stop acting. So the cup is always full of action. So therefore you need to pour some clear liquid to remove the dirty liquid. Let's say I have a cup full of black water. I cannot just throw it and have an empty cup. That's not possible. The cup must be filled because our mind is always working. We're always thinking of something, right? We're always doing something throughout the day. Even while sleeping, we're dreaming. So there's always some activity going on. So it has to be filled with devotional service. So don't try to stop sense gratification. Try to increase your devotional service. That's how you will be able to stop. Not that I have to stop doing this, I have to stop doing that, I have to stop watching my phone or wasting time on YouTube or TikTok or whatever. No, don't try like that. You should, okay, now I'm going to be listening to one lecture every day. Now I'm going to go to the temple at least, 2 times a week. Now I'm going to chant my 16 rounds. So look the other side at what you have to do positively. In this way, you'll be able to give up the nonsense. Okay. No, I have never been to India even. What to speak of Vrindavan. I've never been to India still. AP is saying, is there ISKM in the UK? No, you can start one if you want. We went to the UK in 2018. We met some bhaktas there. Somehow or other, it was not, continued. As soon as travel starts to be more open, definitely we want to be coming, and it will be amazing to. You're saying, how can I get in touch with ISKM UK? So as I said, we don't have ISKM in UK now. So for the moment, I've put the link of the description of our Telegram group. You join that and associate with us. And we want to be starting an ISKM in the UK, definitely. It's such an important country. And it will be there, it will come. Just give us some time. At the moment, our preaching is very much active online like this. But as soon as the restrictions of travel are starting to be brought down a little bit, we'll start to travel all over the world again. So if you invite us to the UK, you have, you can contact us here. You can contact, I'm putting my personal number now. You can contact me in the UK in the future. Okay, Vishal is saying, can I read Bhanu Swami's book? Okay, so this is a whole other topic that we'll be discussing in the future classes. So better stick with Srila Prabhupada's books. You see, everyone in ISKCON even understands that only Srila Prabhupada's book are what is that word? Aparashraya, is it? Completely beyond any faults. Only Srila Prabhupada's books are pure revelations. They are completely transcendental. So this is the basis on what we have to speak of. If you start to read books from other devotees down the line, there will be some imperfection. So better stick with even the 11th and 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is definitely, a nice work. It is nicely translated, but it is as a matter of reference only. You cannot just read the 11th and 12th canto and think you'll advance spiritually. No, you have to read Srila Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada's books is the basis of everything. Now, if you can you can find links between Prabhupada's books and the 11th and 12th canto or some other scriptures, then that's okay. But we don't quote 11 and 12 as complete supreme authority on the matter. Prabhupada's books is what is 100% right, 100% pure, So focus on reading Prabhupada. There's so much of Prabhupada books. Why should we diverse our attention? Why should we bring someone else? So stick to Prabhupada's books. Have you read the entire Srimad Bhagavatam? Have you read the entire Charitamrita? So why go to Bhanu Swami's book? Prabhupada spread the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. Nobody else did it. Other devotees who are coming down the line, they are trying to help in whatever capacity that they can, but they're not the Acharya. The Acharya is Prabhupada. So when Prabhupada is speaking, he speaks from realization. When he's telling you that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it's because he knows, he has seen Krishna. It is from 100% realization. It is not like us. When we say Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is theory only. It is not realized. So when you read the realized word of the pure devotee, then there is impact. People become devotee by reading Prabhupada books. Then they come to ISKCON. They don't become devotee by reading some other books. It's Prabhupada who is attracting them. So please stick to Prabhupada's books. That is the main. Okay, here, any plan coming to India, Prabhuji? Yes, of course, I would like to come to India, but the problem here in China is that if I want to come back here, then there's a 7-day quarantine in a hotel. So if I go to India with my family, I'm going to be stuck inside a small room with my wife and 2 children for 7 days. No, thank you. I prefer staying here and trying to do some preaching online. When that is left, then I'll go. Who knows? Okay, Vishal, he has translated Bhaktivedanta Thakur's books. So if he has translated books of other acharyas, then that is all right. But you should not divert your attention in reading this only. No, you should study Prabhupada's books, and let's say in your free time, you feel like you want to do something different because you feel agitated a little bit from reading Prabhupada books, then okay, go to the other acharyas. Or if you've got some preaching to do that is very important, you're doing some videos or things, then you can go to other books. But if you're not actually using this for preaching or what, stick to Prabhupada books, because Prabhupada said my books are complete. He said the entire philosophy of Krishna consciousness is found in my books. So actually there's no need to go anywhere else. So why do we go anywhere else? Well, there might be some reason. Maybe we're trying to present something that will appeal more to people outside of ISKCON. I mean, there's different reasons, but especially for us neophyte, we should be careful about reading other books. Because what we want to be increasing now is our attachment for Prabhupada, our faith in Sri Prabhupada. Yasya deve para bhaktir yata deve tata gurau. So those who have got implicit faith in Guru, they're the one who are going to be understanding this Vedic knowledge, this transcendental knowledge. Not those who will be studying this achara, that achara, this achara. It's not like this. You must have 100% faith in Prabhupada, then everything will be revealed. So if we start to listen to other other gurus and so on, that it might be dangerous. But anyway, it's not that I'm saying it's not good, but I'm saying you should be careful, and we should focus on Prabhupada's books. Okay, I'll try to go faster because I think no. Okay, Dave River, Namaste. What would you say about Agoris and their path? Do they practice bhakti? Om Namah Shivaya. So, I do not know who the Agoris are, but it is said that there are 4 disciplic succession when it comes to bhakti yoga. So, this is found in the Padma Purana. So, there's the disciplic succession coming from Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the 4 Kumara, and Lakshmi Devi. So, these 4 disciplic successions are coming down, and they are the ones that are bona fide to speak of bhakti, and no one else. So you have to belong to one of these 4 disciplic succession. And the current link, the current acharya, has to be speaking exactly in accordance to what Krishna is saying. So now at the present moment, the most prominent link is the Brahma Gaudiya Sampradaya, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, of which Prabhupada is the current link, the current acharya. His knowledge, his books are giving the cream, the complete essence of Vedic knowledge. And the proof, the pudding is in the tasting. We can see that Western devotees, people who are addicted to sinful activities like myself, are trying to become purified, are trying to become Vaishnavas, So this is the test. No meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex, chanting 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day, trying to use every single minute of our life to serve Krishna and to spread this devotional service, and actually developing some attachment for Krishna, real love. That is the test. To develop our love of God, not artificial, that I make a show of spiritual life, and when I go back home I watch TV and I smoke BDs and I'm with some women and all. Not like that. So it's genuine, it's happening. So why not just accept that this is the prominent manifestation of the bhakti cult being transmitted in our modern age. So if we read Prabhupada books, we will understand all these things. Okay. HK, but Prabhuji, I wake up at that time and start doing chanting, but then I fall asleep again. Yes, so that's because there's no engagement. In the temple, when you wake up, then there's Mangal Arti, then there's the chanting with the devotees, there's the, of course, Tulasi Arti before that. After that, there's the sweeping. Some devotees go and change the deities. Some devotees, they go cooking. So you have to be doing something, not just that you chant, and of course you'll be sleeping. So try to do a japa walk. Why not don't you go outside, take a walk and chant Hare Krishna? At least, you'll feel awake with the fresh air, right? When you come back home, start to cook something. You can keep a picture of Prabhupada and Panchatattva, and every day you try to do an offering for them. So every morning after your japa walk, you come back, you start to cook something, then you offer to them, then maybe you can sing a bhajan in front of them, and after that you honor prasadam listening to Prabhupada lecture. You have to put yourself a program, not just that, okay, I'll try to wake up tomorrow morning, and then you don't know what you're doing. The next morning you'll wake up, you'll chant, and then you won't know what to do. You have to have a spiritual schedule going on, and you have to do it every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. We have to be regulated. Prabhupada said spiritual life is like a clock. I do this now, I do this now, I do this now, I do this now, I do this now. So every day your life has to be regulated. That's what we have to learn. Okay, any plan in upcoming months? So Ravi Singh is saying, any plan in upcoming months to visit India? So not yet. as I said, we need to wait for the restrictions here in China to go down. Okay, so Dimitri Prabhu is saying, sometimes it happens that I do some research in Srila Prabhupada books while chanting my rounds, when I urgently need to find something, because some questions may arise in my mind and I'm looking for the answer in the books. And Sami is saying, yes, this sometimes happens to me also, but then easily get lost, so trying to avoid that also. Yeah, so I also was doing that a lot, and sometimes I'm still guilty of doing this. What I can tell you is that when my mind is too agitated, and I feel that I cannot just chant and hear, then I sometimes come and look at Prabhupada books also. But even that should be given up. You can say that this is a concession to offensive chanting. It's a partly offensive chanting. It should because you're not focusing of chanting Hare Krishna. You're reading. So how can you hear and read at the same time? You're focusing on the mind, right? Because you hear your voice in the mind reading Prabhupada books. So how can you focus on the transcendental vibration that is there? So even that should be given up, because there's a tinge of bad habit which can later on lead to something else. Well, I was not attentive chanting Hare Krishna for reading Prabhupada books, so how about doing something else, like shopping online? Oh, I need to buy a new school bag. Okay, I have to do that fast, I want a new school bag in a few days. Okay, let me go online and buy the new school bag, it's just going to take 20 minutes. Well, that's 2 rounds of inattentive chanting. So the habit will be transmitted into something more, it will degrade, that's the point. It starts like that, but then it will degrade into something worse. Okay, Prabhu, how about to purchase a cheap iPad in order to conduct classes like Televid Prabhu does, showing verses on the stream? We can help you to raise money. Yes, no, the problem here is because I actually booked that stream on my phone, so I could not come on my computer. When I came and opened my computer, they were telling me start the stream from your mobile. I didn't have the option to use my computer, you see. But next week, I'll be using a service called StreamYard. So this StreamYard allows you to share your screen. So I won't be doing like Talavet Prabhu does, that the screen will be always there. I will have a camera like this, and when I show a verse, I will just show my screen. So the whole screen will be my computer screen, and then I'll switch back and forth between camera and computer screen. But thank you very much, Dimitri Prabhu, for asking. And I'm not a pandit like David Prabhu, and so therefore the way that I will be searching for verses is not with numbers. That's not how I do, I've got my all my verses stored there in my Evernote, and I search with keywords. I don't search with numbers. So I cannot use an iPad like David Prabhu does, or His Grace and Agopal Prabhu. But thank you very much, Prabhu, for offering this help. Thank you. So again, okay. Bhave Kumar, Prabhu, how can I manage my spiritual life? So this is, you need guidance, it's not, we cannot say that in a few minutes. But most importantly, you start chanting Hare Krishna, you buy some beads, okay? If you're a vegetarian, tulsi beads, and you start chanting Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Nam, Hare Hare. Next one. Don't touch with this finger, you chant like that. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Very easy. You try, you chant 1 round. When you arrive at the end here, you spin around, and then you start the other round. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Nam, Hare Hare. You get a fixed number of rounds. Let's say you chant 2 rounds every day, then you chant 2, 2, 2 every day, or 4 rounds every day, or 8 rounds every day. You get that numerical strength. You never chant less. You try to increase. If you're scared, you keep to 8 rounds a day or 4 rounds a day. You chant every day, every day, every day, every day. You do that, and you read Srila Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada has got so many books that he wrote is not for no reason. So you should start with Bhagavad Gita. don't have the Bhagavad Gita here, but this is like Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam. So you keep a book with you like this, and you read a few verses a day, you chant a few rounds a day. This is how you start. Very simple. You go online, you're in India, probably you type Prabhupada Bhagavad Gita as it is, you order one, you get some beads, and you do this every day. And you go into that group that I shared there. I shared the link to our Telegram group for Bhaktas. You join that group and you get association there. Prabhuji, there are ISKCONs in UK. Yes, of course, there are big ISKCONs temple in the UK, no doubts. We serve under the name of ISKM, which means International Sri Krishna Mandir. We are the same thing as ISKCON as it was when Srila Prabhupada was present. There's no difference. We simply don't agree with some of the deviations that are taking place in ISKCON. This is a long topic, but there are some things that are manifest. He did not want that there's a system, GBC system, that will be electing gurus. So that's a very big topic, and please don't be afraid that I'm speaking like this. This I will be discussing in some future episodes, but it's important that we discuss these things. We should not simply hide in fear, and then because we'll be cheated. We have to learn, Vedas stipulate that a student should study a spiritual master for 1 year before taking initiation. So this is the study here. Now, we will be discussing the qualifications of spiritual master and so on. So you study that first, and then you, for yourself, you judge what is right, what is wrong. Is there ISKM in India? Yes, we have ISKM centers in India, many different places. So please get in touch with me privately, or I believe if Radhika Saki Mataji is there, could you please put the link to where he can find the contacts of our ISKM temples in India? Or you can call me directly or send me a message. I've put my number there. Or you can come into our Telegram group and ask. We have a center in Puducherry, we have a center in Orissa. So a few places are there. Yeah, so Sami Prabhu is saying, join my reading sessions daily, chant in morning, and it will give you advancement. So yes, as I said, if you join that group, that Telegram group, you will be receiving a lot of links for live chanting sessions and reading sessions. They read Prabhupada books together. All live links to our different classes by our different devotees are forwarded there. So in this way, you get some chance to associate with devotees through your cell phones. So A Cruz is saying, no, there's no ISKM in India. So that's wrong. Actually, yes, we have many centers in India. Yeah, Ravi Singh is saying yes. Okay. Okay, Himanshu Prabhu is saying, Prabhu, what happens sometimes is in temple, there's so much service that whole day passes in service, and when till night I have 16 rounds left to chant, and I'm not able to complete, so what to do? Yes, this is a good sign that you have a lot of service. So wake up earlier, because generally there's always some time to take a nap during the day. Of course, when there's festivals or it's very hectic day, that might not be there, but wake up earlier. If you wake up earlier, then you can chant most of your rounds in the morning. That's important. His Grace Nagopal Prabhu finishes all his rounds before Bhagavatam class. His Grace why am I forgetting his name? I'm sorry, Prabhuji in Malaysia, Vrindavan Prabhu. His Grace Vrindavan Prabhu in Malaysia, he wakes up at 1:30 a.m. He finishes all his round before Mangalarti. Vrajakishore Prabhu wakes up also, I think, at 2:30 a.m. and he finishes most of his rounds before Mangalarti. So the trick is to wake up very early so that you have the time to finish almost everything before Mangalarti, Then you take a longer nap during the day, or you take a nap in the morning or something. You need to find out, because there's a lot of service, but there's a lot of chit-chatting with the devotees all know, Yeah, I know how it is. We don't want to leave the association of devotees, We'll talk about everything and anything with them. But sometimes it's not everything that is so essential to discuss with them, isn't it? Sometimes we're also wasting time. So you need to manage your time properly. You need to know that, okay, now they'll be talking until 12 o'clock. Do I want to do that? Is it necessary? Or should I go to bed earlier? When I go to Singapore, it's like this, all the devotees are happy to see one another. So sometimes I just go in the room in the ashram alone and I start to sleep before them, So then I can wake up a bit earlier and start chanting. So time management, you need to learn that. What is essential, what is not essential, what is real service and what is just, enjoying chit-chatting. So that is also. So because your chanting is important, Prabhupada said we should forgo eating and sleeping instead of, so, okay. Oops. Okay, now there was a bit of fight going on here. Okay, let me see. Okay, so called discontinuity wherever it was. Okay, so for all of this, concerning ISKCON and ISKM, we'll have to make a talk on this. We cannot just solve everything in a discussion box, right? Okay, Krishna KR. Prabhuji, are you not scared living in China considering communist political situation, also COVID? Please stay safe. Hare Krishna. You're really doing a great job spreading Krishna consciousness. I don't know how much I'm spreading Krishna consciousness. I'm not doing much. Scared living in China? No, I'm not scared. But I have to be careful because other devotees here are women and children, so they might feel scared. So because of that, I feel some anxiety. I'm worried for them. For me, I don't care. Even if I go in jail or what, I'll have I can. And Prabhupada said, you go to jail, you have time to chant and read, right? So I don't care so much. But they won't do like any drastic things if they catch me, let's say, and they say I'm a preacher or whatever. The worst they'll do is kick me out of the country, so I can still bring my wife and children. So I'll just go preach somewhere else. That's all. Okay. A Cruz, I'm not a Vaishnava, but I would suggest you to follow the first 4 generations before Prabhupada and the whole life teachings and realization of Shri Prabhupada if you really are looking for inner peace. So yes, inner peace though is a state of realization. It's not simply theory. So okay. Okay, I would request people to not try to argue in the comment section. Now I have to go through all this, and this is not the way that we have to solve matters. Everybody that is here. Okay, somehow now the chat box has just vanished. I don't know why. Anyone that is here is trying to listen. We all are on the same path, so please keep it respectful in the comment section. Okay. Now I'm having some difficulty to see the comment section here. I don't know what has happened. Okay, I'm back here. Sorry, there's a lot of comments, so I'm trying to scroll through. Okay, I'm not seeing the chat box. I'm sorry. It's not appearing anymore. There are some messages of spam. Okay, yeah, so yes, as I said, everyone has come here to listen. We cannot expect everybody to have a perfect understanding of everything the first time they come. So please stop fighting in the comment section. And also, if you come, please come in a humble mood, trying to listen. In a field trip, Hare Krishna, I believe Mataji or Prabhu, I know that you are one of our subscribers on YouTube. Thank you very much for joining. Okay, so I think that will be all for today. So thank you very much for joining the session. So as we have said, that spiritual bliss should be sought within the soul and not within the senses, and that such emotions will arise when we follow everything properly. that is a symptom. We have seen that hair standing on end and started to cry, hearing the pastimes of the Lord or chanting the holy name of the Lord. This is the test that whether we're managing to give up the offenses. Okay, so thank you very much, and I hope that I have not committed any offense. And thank you for joining this first session. We will be trying our best to do that every Tuesday evening. So vanchakalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubhaya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Anantagati Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Go Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.